It's T, and I am bringing you a review of the Buck 110 Folding Hunter, an absolutely legendary American pocket knife. And this one is extra special to me, not only because it's been well loved, but because it was actually owned by my dad. He's still with us, but he just handed it off to me because he doesn't really use a pocket knife as much anymore. But when he was out on the farm more, this would cut a lot of baling wire and stuff like that. So this thing was introduced in 1964 and has been in production ever since, staying relatively the same with these brass liners, ebony wood handles, and a 420 stainless steel blade, 420 HC I should say. And really it's When I was a kid, I think my interest in large knives started here, because a buck knife was shorthand for a big knife, almost the way that Coke is shorthand for any soda down here in the South. So, my dad would mention something about a buck knife or whatever compared to a smaller knife, and I'm like, whoa, when I first saw it, I thought it was huge. I was like, oh my gosh, that's quite the blade right there. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for them, and you have to admit, that design is really, really good. There is nothing about this thing that isn't just absolutely classic American working knife. So let's get into the stats on it. The Buck 110 is $65. The blade is 3.75 inches. It is 0.12 inches thick. The steel is 420 HC. That's a fairly low-end steel, but that's to be expected on more traditional pocket knives like this. The wood is ebony, which I was surprised by because I thought it would be a little bit darker. It's got a nail nick manual opener with a lockback on it. The handle length alone is 4.875 inches. Being a more traditional knife, it's got no pocket clip, and it is made in the USA. The blade itself is actually a really good slicer, owing to both its size and curvature, along with the fact that at 0.12 inches, it is a lot thinner than some of the modern tactical blades you'll see. Not as thin as something that's really designed to be an excellent slicer, but this was the days before they really got scientific about slicing mechanics, and before people were obsessively into pocket knives as they are now and counted every hundredth of an inch and every single digit on the hardness scale. Is it better now? Was it better then? I don't know. I definitely like the glut of options and really amazing choices that we have now, and how many really awesome knives you can get for a budget price. The opening is, of course, manual with a nail nick, so you're not going to be able to pull this out of your pocket and flick it open with one hand. In regular use in public, that may be opening with two hands may be a little bit more reassuring to people, because it feels more utilitarian than somebody flicking a knife out in ready stance. But if you have to keep your hands free and you have to use your hands for other things, then you can really come to miss that thumb stud or the ability to flick a knife open. Personally, I never really carry this thing. It's more of an heirloom, and it's just gonna stay with me forever. I may, carry it out on the ranch or something for fun. But that that opening is really what does it. The other thing that will keep a lot of people from carrying one is a lack of pocket clip, which it tells you how far knives have come. That the ability to flick it open in one smooth motion and have a pocket clip and stuff like that is just considered. It's just considered a prerequisite for most people to carry knives, because that's where the technology is at. And it sounds like something like, how is that technology? But when it comes to tools, you have to optimize for reliability over time. So the innovations, they change less. And pocket knives have entered the realm of art and of collectibles and of cool tech designs with stuff like the Winterblade Co. Factor. Really amazing engineering and design on those things, but for what most people will daily carry and will beat until it dies and they buy another one, you want time-tested, time-proven technology. So there are absolutely some people who still carry these daily. There's a lot of old-timers, there's some young cowboys, there's all kinds of people who love these things. They're still produced and sold in mass for a reason. The Buck 110, as I said before, it just looks amazing. It feels great in the hand. Good, solid, thick handle to lock up on. No weird ergonomics about it. Just pretty much perfection for price. It comes with a leather sheath, so that is nice, but wearing a belt sheath is not something most people are going to want to do unless they're on the range, on a construction site or something, or they're kind of more of an old-timer where they aren't so concerned about their appearance. And, you don't have to be the most fashion-conscious guy to not want to be wearing belt sheaths in public, though I assume that you could conceal it under a shirt like you can a CCW, though this is definitely not a fighting knife. That said, I was just reading up on it on some forums, and people said that motorcycle gangs in the 70s would carry these, and that makes sense, because it's probably about the biggest folding knife they sold at that point. Also the 119. The 119 is the fixed blade buck that is so popular, and it is Ghostface's knife in Scream. This one was used in the Dukes of Hazzard show a lot. Not this specific version, but the specific model, the 110. So let's get to a rating out of 10 for this absolutely amazing classic American knife. For the Buck 110, I am going to go a very aesthetic, very perfect 7.5. 7.5, why would you say that for something that's so legendary? Well, it really just comes down to the utility factor with the clip, the nail nick lockback versus being able to flick it, stuff like that. But let's not get it twisted. For heritage and history's sake, for quality of construction, for presentation and beauty, it really earns that 7.5. I could go no lower, but the hardness of the 420HC steel and the fact that it's using a pin construction where you can't take the handles out, and yeah, that lack of clip, I couldn't go anything above a 7.5. Maybe an 8, but we're gonna say 7.5. Alright guys, well, I've been Cheap T, you've been you. Have a good one. Peace.